Name the man who's pictured outside and inside the U.S. Supreme Court, who's quoted on the Liberty Bell, and who's an inspiration for both Uncle Sam and Lady Liberty. Here's a hint.
Moses supposes his poses are roses, but Moses supposes erroneously.
Moses.
Oh, Moses, Moses.
Moses, the man who led the Israelites out of slavery and in a scripture-stealing scene parted the waters of the Red Sea. A life story so extraordinary it earned the author a 5-book deal.
No, Moses' life is one of the greatest adventure stories ever put between the covers of a book.
Behold his mighty hand.
It was made into a major motion picture starring Charlton Heston, a movie that felt almost as long as the 40-year trek across the Sinai Desert.
First, the spikes of light around her head, and then second, the tablet in her arms, both of which come from the moment that Moses comes down Mount Sinai with the 10 Commandments.
Bruce Feiler is the author of a book about Moses. He points out that Moses has been invoked over and over throughout American history, from the Pilgrims to Abraham Lincoln to Martin Luther King Jr.
Martin Luther King, the night before he died, said, I have been to the mountaintop, I have looked over, I have seen the promised land.
I may not get there with you, but I want you to know tonight that we as a people will get to the promised land.
Benjamin Franklin, John Adams, and Thomas Jefferson each originally proposed Moses for our national seal. And 2/3 of the eulogies for George Washington compared him to Moses. So it should be no surprise that the biblical superhero inspired a comic book superhero.
Just in the same way baby Moses is put into a basket and floated down the Nile to escape annihilation, baby Superman put into a spaceship, launched into space to escape extinction. Both figures were picked up by strangers, raised in alien environments before being summoned to assist humanity. Why is this story so powerful? Because it is fundamentally about where we are today, which is when you're in a difficult place, you need to imagine a better place.
Difficult doesn't even begin to describe Moses' journey. Telling his full story would take at least 40 years. Here it is in 40 seconds. Moses is a Hebrew born into slavery in Egypt. His mother sends him down the Nile in a basket. The world's first flume ride ends with adoption by Pharaoh's daughter. Moses grows up, kills an abusive Egyptian, flees to the desert, marries, has kids, becomes a shepherd. One day God, in the form of a burning bush, tells him to go back, free his people. Moses would really rather stay with sheep. But it's God asking, so even though he's not much of a speaker and has absolutely no idea what he's doing, he reluctantly returns to Egypt. And that's just the beginning.
Moses is the patron saint of hope.
Okay, and Moses needs hope, right? Because his journey is fraught with failure.
God forgive my weak use of his strength.
Racked with self-doubt and an anger management problem, Moses suffers constant setbacks. Only 3 days after the guy parts the Red Sea, the Israelites are already complaining.
No, there's not enough food to drink, there's not enough water to drink, and then
they don't like manna.
Yeah.
And while Moses is up on the mountain receiving the 10 Commandments, down below there are orgies, rebellions, and the worshiping of a golden calf. Challenges that face leaders of all kinds, from heads of state to captains of industry. Nico Canner is a business leadership consultant.
What leaders do is to struggle against the sort of fundamental human impulses to questioning, to dissatisfaction, to unrest, to try to channel them to come together.
Canner, who advises troubled companies, says today's business leaders, anxious for a quick turnaround, should take a page from a leader who took the long view and was never blindly certain.
The illusion of certainty in business is something like this golden calf. We wish to believe that it's possible to say, next quarter, our earnings will be this, and a year out, they'll be that.
An eternally rising stock market? A housing bubble that never bursts? Bernie Madoff's gift that kept on giving? Are these today's false idols?
Moses' willingness to undertake something so great enables him to build a people in a lasting way, even when he can't complete the journey in his lifetime.
The end of Moses' life could be called Finding Nebo, the name of the mountain where he dies, only to look out at the promised land beyond. Hardly a Hollywood ending. But that, says Bruce Feiler, is what makes this story so great. If Moses had made it to the promised land, do you think the story would pack less of a punch?
Absolutely. I actually think that's one of the reasons that the story has endured so much, is because the ultimate lesson of the story is the dream doesn't die with the dreamer, and the true destination isn't this year at all, but next year.
A promising message as a new year approaches.